Dear friends, since ancient times, people have looked up to the sky, wondering how small we are in the vast universe. But then it was those same hands that built structures that amazed the whole world. Those structures are not just made of stone, brick, or steel, but also of memories, aspirations, and beliefs that humans can leave an everlasting mark on the earth. Today, let's take a journey through the 30 greatest man-made wonders of the world, testaments to the creativity and immortal spirit of humanity. 1. Abu Simbel, Egypt. On the western shore of Lake Nasser, in the middle of the vast Egyptian desert, there are two giant stone temples carved straight into the cliffs, majestic like gods guarding the Nile River. That is Abu Simbel, the eternal wonder that Pharaoh Ramesses II left as an immortal declaration of power and love. The larger temple was dedicated to Ramesses himself, with 4 colossal statues more than 20 meters tall sitting proudly in front of the entrance, their gaze fixed on the rising sun. Inside, the walls were carved with scenes of glorious battles, where the pharaoh was portrayed as invincible. The smaller temple, built for his wife Nefertari, was as gentle as a love song carved in stone, where the beauty and reverence for his beloved wife were elevated to the level of divinity. Even more amazing is that in the 1960s, when Egypt built the Aswan Dam, the two temples were completely cut apart and moved higher up to avoid being submerged under the lake. Thousands of engineers and workers worked for years to move each block of stone precisely, keeping the sunlight from shining directly on the main shrine on 2 special days of the year, the pharaoh's birthday and coronation day. Abu Simbel is not only a reminder of a glorious dynasty, but also a testament to a double miracle: the miracle of ancient human hands and the miracle of modern technology, working together to preserve a timeless heritage. 2. Statue of Liberty, USA. In the middle of New York Harbor, on tiny Liberty Island, stands a giant figure holding a torch aloft like a beacon of freedom. It is the Statue of Liberty, a gift from France to the United States in 1886. But it has transcended the meaning of a gift to become a global symbol of hope, justice, and human rights. The statue is over 90 meters high, including the pedestal, designed by architect Frédéric Auguste Bartholdi, with the steel frame made by Gustave Eiffel himself, the man who later built the Eiffel Tower. The goddess wears a cloak that flutters in the wind. Her left hand holds a plaque engraved with the date of the American Declaration of Independence. Her right hand holds a torch high, the guiding light for millions of immigrants who came to this land with the desire to change their lives. For many generations, especially those who left their homeland by sea, the Statue of Liberty was the first image they saw when they set foot on the Promised Land. That torch, that gaze, that laurel wreath became a silent but powerful welcome. It is not just a building, but a spiritual support for millions of hearts far from home. Today, the Statue of Liberty still stands, glowing at dawn, proud at dusk, and shimmering as New York City lights up. It is not just a symbol of America, but a symbol of the most universal of human aspirations, the desire for freedom. 3. Pyramids of Giza, Egypt. On the edge of the Sahara Desert, where the sand winds roll up into endless golden waves, 3 great pyramids stand tall, standing there for more than 4,000 years, defying time and death. That is the Pyramid of Giza, the last remaining wonder of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, and also the immortal symbol of Egyptian civilization. The most prominent is the Great Pyramid of Pharaoh Khufu, which, at nearly 150 meters high, was the tallest structure in the world for more than 3 millennia. The ancients transported millions of giant limestone blocks, each weighing many tons, stacked so perfectly that science still cannot fully explain how they did it. Next to it is the Pyramid of Khafra, which appears taller because it is built on higher ground. and the Pyramid of Menkaure, which is smaller, but no less majestic. In the middle of the arid desert, the pyramids of Giza are not only tombs for the pharaohs, but also gates to eternity, where people place their belief that the soul will be immortal. Standing at the foot of the pyramid, looking up, we feel like we are facing an artificial mountain, a mountain of human pride and intelligence. Over thousands of years, many empires have collapsed, many civilizations have perished. But the pyramids still stand there, unchanging against the wind, sand, and time. It is not only a symbol of Egypt, but also a symbol of immortal desire. The desire to reach eternity, so that humans, though finite, can still leave an eternal mark on this earth. 4. Taj Mahal, India. On the gentle Yamuna River in the city of Agra, India, there is a white structure like a tear falling from the sky. That is the Taj Mahal, the mausoleum of immortal love, the great masterpiece that Emperor Shah Jahan dedicated to his beloved wife, Mumtaz Mahal. Built in 1632 and lasting more than 2 decades, the Taj Mahal is made from millions of blocks of white marble, intricately carved and studded with precious stones from all over the world. The large dome rises majestically. 4 minarets stand at the 4 corners like eternal sentinels. Passing through the main gate, a straight path leads to the mausoleum, flanked by lakes and gardens perfectly symmetrical, reflecting the silhouette of the structure like a mirage of paradise. What makes the Taj Mahal a wonder is not only its perfect beauty, but also the love story behind it. People call it a tear on the cheek of eternity, because every stone, every line is imbued with the pain and loyalty of Shah Jahan before the death of his wife. In the quiet space, the moonlight shines down on the pure white dome. The Taj Mahal appears like a dream, making every heart sink in emotion. Today, the Taj Mahal is not only a symbol of India, but also a symbol of timeless love. It reminds humanity that there are emotions so strong that they can turn into stone, lasting through the years, and leaving the world a wonder that is both magnificent and gentle. 5. Angkor Wat, Cambodia. In the middle of the Cambodian jungle, where the morning mist still lingers on the ancient treetops, a temple complex so vast that it makes one feel as if they are standing in front of a miniature universe appears. That is Angkor Wat, the sacred temple and also the largest religious structure in the world. The pride of the Khmer people and the symbol of a once brilliant civilization. Built in the early 12th century under King Suryavarman II, Angkor Wat was originally dedicated to the Hindu god Vishnu. Its structure is a stone map of the universe. The surrounding moat represents the ocean, while the soaring central towers represent Mount Meru, the mythical sacred mountain where the gods reside. Endless corridors are covered with intricately carved reliefs, recounting the epics of the Ramayana and Mahabharata. Each wall a story, each stone a page of history and belief. As dawn breaks, the sun gradually emerges from behind the towering spires. The temple's shadow reflects on the calm lake, creating a magical scene that anyone would dream of witnessing at least once. At that moment, Angkor Wat is no longer just a temple, but becomes a place where earth and sky meet, where people feel the immortality of faith and art. Today, even as the jungle silently swallows many of the surrounding ruins, Angkor Wat still stands, majestic and imposing. It is not only a wonder of Cambodia, but also a wonder of humanity, a reminder that there are aspirations that have been carved into stone that will never fade. 6. Petra City, Jordan. In the arid desert of Jordan, where red sand and pink stone stretch endlessly, hides a city that once flourished as an oasis of trade and culture. It is Petra, the Nabatean Rose City, carved directly into the sandstone cliffs more than 2,000 years ago. The road leading to Petra is a narrow ravine nearly 2 kilometers long called the Sick, with 2 high cliffs standing like giant natural walls. When the light at the end of the road flashes, suddenly appears Al-Khazne, the treasury, a magnificent structure carved delicately into the pink mountain rock, more than 40 meters high, with columns, arches, and patterns bearing the mark of Greece and Rome. That moment makes everyone silent, as if they have just stepped through a gate of time. Petra was once a prosperous capital, a bustling trading hub on the spice route that linked Arabia, Egypt, and the Mediterranean. The city had temples, theaters that could seat thousands of people, and clever water systems in the middle of the arid desert. But then, over the course of history, Petra was forgotten, buried in the sand until it was rediscovered in the 19th century. Today, Petra is not only a World Heritage Site, but also a testament to human creativity when it comes to blending with nature. When the sun sets, the entire cliff turns red and Petra glows like an eternal flame in the middle of a silent desert. The city is not only a wonder of stone, but also a wonder of intelligence and the desire to overcome adversity. 7. Colosseum, Italy. In the heart of Rome, once the center of a mighty empire that stretched across Europe, Africa, and the Middle East, stands a monumental structure that has stood for nearly 2 millennia. It is the Colosseum, the legendary arena where 80,000 spectators cheered and swords clashed in deadly battles. Built in the 1st century under Emperor Vespasian and completed by his son Titus, the Colosseum was a symbol of Roman power. With its 3-tiered dome and arcades, it could hold up to 80,000 people, a figure that would put any modern stadium in awe. Beneath the arena floor was a complex maze of tunnels, animal cages, elevators, and a marvelous engineering system that brought warriors and beasts into the arena at any moment. This was the site of bloody gladiator fights, wild animal hunts, and even mock naval battles when the Romans flooded the arena. For them, the Colosseum was not just a place of entertainment, but also a tool to assert power, to show the world the might and brutality of the empire. Despite earthquakes, fires, and the erosion of time, the Colosseum still stands, a living witness to history. As the setting sun shines on its broken walls, the Colosseum appears both majestic and tragic, reminding humanity that glory and violence go hand in hand, and that the greatest works also contain the most complex human stories. 8. Hagia Sophia, Turkey. In the heart of Istanbul, where Europe and Asia meet, stands a structure whose every wall and every dome contains 1,000 years of history. That is Hagia Sophia, the House of Divine Wisdom, one of the greatest architectural wonders ever built by man. Completed in 537 under the Byzantine Emperor Justinian I, Hagia Sophia was then the largest church in the world and held that title for nearly a millennium. Its colossal dome, nearly 55 meters high, so large that it appears to be suspended in mid-air, has amazed generations of architects. When light filters through the windows, the dome is as large as the sky, creating an indescribable sense of sacredness. In the 15th century, when Constantinople fell to the Ottoman Empire, Hagia Sophia was converted into a mosque with its soaring minarets added. In the 20th century, it became a museum, accessible to people of all faiths. And no matter the era, Hagia Sophia has always been a symbol of cultural exchange. Where East meets West, Christianity and Islam meet. Entering the Hagia Sophia, we see golden Byzantine mosaics and graceful Arabic script, two of the world's greatest civilizations coexisting on one dome. It is not just an architectural work, but also a testament to the world's ability to reconcile differences. And in that fusion, beauty becomes eternal. 9. Machu Picchu, Peru. In the majestic Andes of Peru, where white clouds drift over peaks over 2,000 meters high, hides an ancient stone city that seems to hang between heaven and earth. That is Machu Picchu, the jewel of the Inca civilization, one of the most mysterious and fascinating monuments on the planet. Built in the 15th century under Emperor Pachacuti, Machu Picchu was once a palace, a fortress, and a religious center. The entire city is made of polished granite blocks, so tightly fitted that they need no mortar to stand for hundreds of years, withstanding earthquakes and storms without a single blemish. In every small path, every stone step, we see the wisdom and patience of the Incas. It is believed that this was once a ceremonial site, where sacred rituals were performed to connect with the sun god. When the morning light filters through the canyon, the temples and plazas glow, and the whole of Machu Picchu seems to be awakened by a mystical energy. Abandoned after the Spanish conquest, Machu Picchu lay dormant for centuries until it was rediscovered in the early 20th century by scholar Hiram Bingham. Since then, it has become a dream destination for millions, not only because of its breathtaking beauty, but also because it feels like touching a piece of the human soul. Standing high above the Urubamba Valley, seeing the clouds wrapping around the stone walls, we understand that Machu Picchu is not only a wonder, but also a message from the Incas to the world. That people can blend in with nature, live with the mountains and forests, and leave an immortal legacy. 10. Christ the Redeemer statue, Brazil. On the top of Corcovado Mountain, more than 700 meters high, amidst the white clouds and the Atlantic Ocean breeze, there is a giant statue spreading its arms as if to embrace the entire city of Rio de Janeiro. That is Cristo Redentor, the statue of Christ the Redeemer, the sacred symbol of Brazil and also one of the most familiar images of humanity. Construction began in 1922 and took 9 years to complete. The statue is 38 meters high, made of reinforced concrete and covered with bright white soapstone. With its distinctive Art Deco style, Cristo Redentor is considered the largest Art Deco statue in the world. From a distance, the statue resembles a giant cross. But when you get closer, you can clearly see the gentle face, tolerant eyes, and open arms as if welcoming everyone without distinction. To reach the statue, visitors once had to climb hundreds of steep steps. Today, funiculars, elevators, and escalators make the journey easier, but the feeling of climbing the final step is still overwhelming. From here, the panorama of Rio de Janeiro spreads out below. The sparkling Copacabana beach, Sugarloaf Mountain jutting out into the sea, and the colorful neighborhoods. As the sun sets, Cristo Redentor is bathed in an orange-red glow, its arms spread out to protect the entire city. It is not just a statue, but a symbol of faith, love, and tolerance, reminding people that in a world full of turmoil, we always need an open arm to find peace. 11. The Great Wall of China. On the rugged mountains of northern China, winding like a giant dragon stretching endlessly, there is a structure so great that just hearing its name, people can imagine the indomitability of an entire nation. That is the Great Wall, the longest wall ever built by mankind. A wonder that is both practical and symbolic, both a border and a source of pride. Originating in the 7th century BC and expanded through several dynasties, especially the Qin and Ming dynasties, the Great Wall stretches over 21,000 kilometers, crossing deserts, grasslands, high mountains, and plains. Bricks and stones were piled up over thousands of years, joined together by the sweat and blood of millions of workers, soldiers, and even prisoners forced to build it. Each section of the wall had watchtowers, moats, and gates, all forming a solid defense system against the nomadic cavalry from the north. But the Great Wall was not only a wall to prevent invaders, it was also a trade route, a place for cultural exchange, a place connecting east and west through the Silk Road. Today, when we set foot on the wall, the wind from the mountain blows through the cracks in the bricks. Our eyes look down at the vast valleys. The scene seems to take us back to the distant past. People say that it would take more than a year and a half to walk the entire length of the Great Wall. But just standing at a short distance, we can feel the immortal desire of human beings, the desire to conquer nature, protect the country, and leave an eternal mark. 12. Chichen Itza City, Mexico. In the heart of Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula, hidden in the tropical jungle, lies a once glorious and then forgotten ancient city. It is Chichen Itza, the center of Mayan power and spirituality, where the stone blocks are not only architectural, but also a blend of calendars, astronomy, and religion. The most impressive landmark is the Pyramid of Kukulkan, El Castillo, with 4 staircases leading to the top, each with 91 steps, adding up to 365, representing the number of days in a year. On the days of the spring and autumn equinoxes, the sunlight creates the illusion of a giant snake slithering down from the top of the pyramid, the incarnation of the god Kukulkan, making thousands of pilgrims feel as if they are witnessing a miracle. Not only the pyramids, Chichen Itza is also home to the largest ball court in the ancient Americas, where ritual matches were not only for sport, but also associated with sacrifice. The skull wall, the sacred cenote, the skylight where people offered sacrifices to the gods, are still there as evidence of a brilliant and mysterious civilization. Today, Chichen Itza is recognized by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site and one of the new 7 wonders of the world. As the sun sets behind the green forest, the endless shadow of the pyramid is cast on the ground. We understand that this is not just an ancient city, but a mirror reflecting the beliefs and wisdom of the Maya, who knew how to connect astronomy with the breath of life thousands of years ago. 13. Acropolis, Greece. On a limestone hill overlooking Athens, where the golden rays of the Mediterranean sun illuminate every marble, there is a structure that commands the world's respect. It is the Acropolis, the heart of ancient Greek civilization, a symbol of wisdom, art, and the desire for perfect beauty. The Acropolis is not just a single building, but a sacred complex. At its peak, the Parthenon stands proudly with its majestic Doric columns, built in the 5th century BC to honor the goddess Athena, the city's patron goddess. Next to the Parthenon is the Erechtheion, with its feminine caryatid columns, supporting the temple roof, both soft and majestic. And the Temple of Athena Nike, small but exquisite, is like a salute to victory. The magic of the Acropolis lies not only in its shining white marble, but in the spirit of democracy and freedom it represents. This is where the ancient Greeks discussed philosophy, developed the arts, and laid the foundations for science and politics for all of humanity. When night falls, modern lights illuminate the entire hill, turning the Acropolis into a shining beacon in the bustling city of Athens. Standing before the Acropolis, we not only see the great works that are thousands of years old, but also see the soul of a civilization that sowed the seeds of human intelligence. It is not just stones, but a message from our ancestors that beauty and knowledge are the most immortal wonders. 14. Temple of Baalbek, Lebanon. In the fertile Bekaa Valley of Lebanon, where the Middle Eastern sun sets golden over distant mountains, lies one of the most majestic surviving Roman ruins, Baalbek, called the City of the Sun by the ancients. It was a holy place where gods and men met, and it still stands today as a monument to a fallen empire. Baalbek is not just one temple, but a huge complex. The most prominent is the Temple of Jupiter. With its 21-meter-high granite columns, of the original 54, only 6 remain standing. But they still command awe. Next door is the Temple of Bacchus, the most intact temple, built in the 2nd century, with walls decorated with elaborate reliefs depicting the rituals and myths of the wine god. What makes Baalbek a great mystery to mankind are the giant stone blocks at the base, each weighing hundreds of tons, and to this day, science has not been able to fully explain how the Romans and previous civilizations moved them. When standing in front of those giant stones, people seem to touch a power that transcends time, beyond common understanding. Today, Baalbek still holds the sacred spirit of the past. In the twilight, the pillars are dyed red by the sunlight, and we feel like we are standing before a gate leading to legend. Baalbek Temple is not just a ruin. It is a bridge between modern people and the immortal aspirations of the ancients, the desire to touch the gods with their own hands. 15. Borobudur Temple, Indonesia. In the lush green mountains of Java, Indonesia, where the morning mist still lingers, rises a magnificent volcanic pyramid that time thought had been forgotten. That is Borobudur, the world's largest Buddhist temple, a masterpiece of wisdom and faith, built in the 9th century. Borobudur is unlike any other temple. It is made up of more than 2 million stacked volcanic rocks, forming 6 square and 3 circular tiers, leading pilgrims from the foot of the mountain to the top. Like a journey of enlightenment from the material world to the spiritual realm. On each wall, more than 2,000 meticulously carved reliefs depict the life of the Buddha, while 500 Buddha statues sit silently in lotus-shaped bell towers. As dawn broke, the sunlight filtered through the mist, illuminating the moss-covered statues, transforming Borobudur into a magical sight, as if the temple were emerging from a dream. For centuries, Borobudur lay forgotten beneath layers of earth and jungle, until it was rediscovered in the 19th century and restored to its former glory. Borobudur Temple is not only an architectural work, but also a spiritual path, reminding people that enlightenment is not a destination, but a journey step by step, through hardships and challenges, to find the light of wisdom and compassion. 16. St. Peter's Basilica, Vatican. In the heart of the Vatican, the smallest country in the world, but the spiritual center of millions of Catholics, rises a structure so great that it can contain the symbol of American freedom within it, that is St. Peter's Basilica, the spiritual heart of Catholicism and one of the greatest architectural masterpieces ever created by man. Started in 1506 and completed in 1615. This work is the crystallization of the genius minds in Renaissance art. Michelangelo left his immortal mark in the giant dome, a masterpiece rising like the sky framed in stone. Bernini, with his talented hand, designed St. Peter's Square in a circular shape, like the vast arms of the church reaching out to welcome humanity. Inside, each pillar, each sculpture, each mosaic exudes majesty and holiness. When entering the 120-meter-high interior space, people suddenly feel strangely small, as if standing before the sky of God. Light shines through the glass windows, illuminating the statues and altars, making the entire cathedral glow with endless sacredness. St. Peter's Basilica is not just a church, but a symbol of faith, of art, and of the desire to transcend physical limits. It reminds us that some structures are built not just to exist, but to connect earth and sky, humanity and eternity. 17. Burj Khalifa Tower, Dubai. In the middle of the arid Arabian desert, where golden sand stretches to the horizon, humans have built a giant tower that pierces straight into the blue sky, as if to affirm that there is no limit to the desire to reach high. That is Burj Khalifa, Dubai's skyscraper. a symbol of ambition and prosperity of the modern world. At 828 meters tall, the Burj Khalifa is currently the tallest building in the world. Construction began in 2004 and was completed in 2010, requiring more than 13,000 workers to work day and night, adding a new floor every 3 days. Its design was inspired by the shape of the desert flower Hymenocallis, with its harmoniously spreading petals and tapering body, making the entire tower both graceful and sturdy. Inside is a combination of advanced technology and luxury. Apartments, hotels, offices, restaurants, and even the highest observation deck in the world. From the 124th floor, people can look far away, seeing the whole of Dubai sparkling like a star in the desert. At night, thousands of LED lights are lit, turning Burj Khalifa into a giant lighthouse, reflecting the boundless aspirations of humanity. Burj Khalifa is more than just a structure. It is a bold statement. That man, even from a harsh desert, can turn his dreams into reality and reach the ends of the sky. 18. Neuschwanstein Castle, Germany. In the middle of the Bavarian mountains of Germany, where the clear blue lake reflects the clouds and the sky and the pine forests whisper in the wind, rises a castle that seems to come out of a fairy tale dream. That is Neuschwanstein, the masterpiece that the eccentric King Ludwig II left to humanity. A work that is both romantic, mysterious, and sad. Begun in 1869, the castle was never quite completed as the king had hoped. Ludwig II, known as the Mad King, devoted his life to creating a sanctuary of fantasy. A citadel not for war, but for beauty and art. The soaring spires and white walls all exude the Romanesque revival style, a dreamy rebirth of European architecture. Surrounding Neuschwanstein are majestic mountains and forests and a mirror-like lake, creating a scene that will leave anyone speechless. It was this place that inspired Walt Disney to create the castle in the movie Sleeping Beauty, and later became the model for the Disney logo around the world. Neuschwanstein is more than just a castle. It is a king's unfulfilled dream, a testament to the fact that despite being finite, humans still aspire to create structures that are eternal. When the fog rolls in, looking at the castle as if floating in the clouds, we understand that there are wonders that exist only to remind us of the endless power of imagination. 19. Ifugao Rice Terraces, Philippines. On the slopes of the Cordillera Mountains in the Philippines' Luzon Island, there is a wonder built not of marble or metal, but of the earth itself and the industrious hands of man. It is the Ifugao Rice Terraces, endless green terraces that hug the mountainside, as if man had painted a vivid picture on the body of the earth. For over 2,000 years, the Ifugao people have used primitive tools to carve mountains, channel water, and transform barren rocky slopes into fertile terraced fields. They do not have modern machinery, but they have the wisdom to observe nature, know how to preserve the soil, regulate water sources, and keep crops green from generation to generation. The terraces follow each other like a ladder reaching up to the sky, causing people to call this place the eighth wonder of the world. When the sun shines down, the water on the rice fields reflects the sparkling light like a mirror of the sky. And when the clouds cover, the whole landscape becomes hazy like a watercolor painting. Walking among the terraced fields, we feel like we are not only entering a man-made structure, but also entering a symphony between man and nature, where harmony becomes the foundation for life to exist. The Ifugao rice terraces are not castles or monuments, but they are great because they nurture life, nurture people. It is the simplest yet most profound wonder, a wonder of labor and harmony. 20. Eiffel Tower, France. In the sky of Paris, between the straight avenues and the poetic Seine River, there is a steel tower rising like a giant arrow touching the blue sky. That is the Eiffel Tower, the eternal symbol of France, where love, art, and technology blend into a single block. Built over 2.5 years, from 1887 to 1889, the structure was originally intended as a gateway to the World Exhibition held in Paris. Many contemporaries considered it a steel scar in the heart of the ancient city. But time has changed everything. At 324 meters high, the Eiffel Tower was once the tallest man-made structure in the world and has since become the soul of Paris. When night falls, thousands of lights twinkle on each steel frame, transforming the Eiffel Tower into the most romantic beacon on the planet. People come here not only to admire the city from its soaring observation decks, but also to tap into a shared human memory. The belief that beauty can overcome all doubt, and that creativity, despite initial resistance, has the power to endure. The Eiffel Tower is not just an architectural work. It is the heartbeat of Paris. A song about people's desire to reach the sky, and a place where every glance can become an immortal confession of love. 21. Moai Statues, Easter Island. In the middle of the vast Pacific Ocean, far from all continents, there is a small island that holds mysteries that amaze the world. That is Easter Island, home to giant Moai statues, stone faces that seem to silently watch the flow of time. More than 800 statues were carved from volcanic ash, up to 10 meters high, weighing tens of tons, most of them facing the mainland, as if to protect the residents here. The ancient Rapa Nui people, with only primitive tools of basalt, painstakingly carved each giant stone block over many months, even years to complete a statue. Each Moai is not only a work of art, but also a symbol of the ancestors, of the belief that the souls of the deceased will continue to protect their descendants. Today, as the sea breeze blows across the lush green grasslands, the statues stand tall, covered in moss and exposed to the elements, their deep gazes still intact. No one knows exactly how the Rapa Nui people moved those giant blocks of stone from the mountainside to the shore. That mystery makes the Moai both a monument and an unanswered question, making us understand that there are things in history that do not need to be explained, but only silently admired, to feel the greatness of humanity in the fragility of an island in the middle of the sea and sky. 22. Alhambra, Spain. On Sabica Hill in Granada, southern Spain, there is a palace and fortress complex that looks like it came straight out of an Andalusian musical. It is the Alhambra, a jewel of Moorish civilization, where Islamic art and nature blend into an endless epic. Originally built in the 9th century on the site of an ancient Roman fortress, the Alhambra became the center of power and culture during the Nasrid dynasty. Passing through the gates, one is transported to a maze of lush gardens, clear pools reflecting the moonlight, and corridors covered in intricate geometric patterns. Arches carved like stone lace, walls covered in poetic Arabic script, all create a mystical atmosphere, as if each brick whispers an ancient prayer. From the watchtowers, one can see the snow-capped Sierra Nevada mountains all year round, making the Alhambra a living poem between heaven and earth. When the sun sets, the light dyes the walls red. The entire palace seems to burn in the sunset, true to its name, the Red Fortress. This is not just an architectural work, but a symphony of history, where the dreams, beliefs, and aspirations of an entire civilization still echo. 23. St. Basil's Cathedral, Russia. In the middle of Moscow's Red Square, where snow covers the winter and sunshine stretches out in the summer, stands out a building that makes anyone feel like they have entered a fairy tale world. That is St. Basil's Cathedral, with its colorful onion-shaped domes rising high like a blazing flame against the gray sky. Built in the 16th century by order of Tsar Ivan the Terrible to commemorate his victory over the Tatars, This structure is unlike any other church in the world. Its twisted, curved domes, covered in unusual patterns and colors, look like giant candy canes placed in the heart of Russia. It is said that it was so unique in its beauty that Ivan ordered the architect to be blinded so that he could never create another structure like it. St. Basil's Cathedral is not only a religious symbol, but also a symbol of Russia, where strange lines blend legend and reality. When the bells ring in the sunset, the domes are bathed in purple-pink light. The whole square seems to turn into a dream, making people realize that beauty sometimes does not need balance. But it is strangeness, brilliance, and madness that make an immortal mark. 24. Golden Gate Bridge, USA. At the gateway to San Francisco Bay, amidst the dense fog of the Pacific Ocean, a giant bridge stretches out like a red-orange silk ribbon connecting land and sea. That is the Golden Gate Bridge, a symbol of modern America, the pride of human engineering and will in the 20th century. Completed in 1937, the suspension bridge was considered an engineering marvel, with the longest main span in the world. Its distinctive red-orange color was not only to stand out from the landscape, but also to be easily recognized in the thick fog that covered the bay. When the sun rose, strands of fog drifted across the giant steel cables. The bridge was like a streak of light piercing the sky, painting a picture that was both majestic and vague. Standing on the bridge, you can feel the wind, hear the waves crashing under your feet, and see the entire city of San Francisco like a shining pearl on the bay. The Golden Gate Bridge is not only a means of connecting two shores, but also a symbol of the desire to overcome limits, turning seemingly impossible distances into real roads. 25. Sydney Opera House, Australia. On the windy shores of Sydney Harbour, where white sails stretch out to the sea, humans have built a modern wonder that the world has to look up to. The Sydney Opera House is not just an architectural work, but a symbol of creativity beyond all frameworks. Designed by architect Jorn Utzon, its shape is reminiscent of giant sails filled with wind or seashells opening and closing in the ocean. From afar, the building seems to float on the deep blue water, in harmony with the waves and the sky. Inside, the space is divided into several auditoriums, where each year more than 1,500 performances take place, from classical music to contemporary musicals. The lights shine down on the water of the harbor, reflecting the soft curves, making the building seem to glow at night. It is a place where art finds a home, where people find connections that transcend language and borders. When standing in front of the Sydney Opera House, we clearly feel that architecture is not just for looking, but also for listening, for understanding, for seeing the world more broadly and harmoniously.